Welcome to On the Issues with ABC News senior White House correspondent Martha Raddatz and the Brookings experts for a dialogue on policy issues and ideas. Senior fellow Robert Crandall says the next president should deregulate key industries, which will strengthen the U.S. economy.
Talk about deregulation and making the U.S. economy more efficient, which is what you write about.
Well, we went through a major wave of deregulation in the 70s and 80s, beginning in the Carter administration, extending into the Reagan administration, and transportation, communications, energy. And all of those things have worked out much better than even the proponents would have expected. So there's really no turning back. The only question now is how to complete that process of deregulation. And what I advocate is completing the deregulation of telecommunications. We no longer need to regulate voice communications. There's so much competition from cable, wireless, landline telephone companies, and maybe Google will even get in the mix soon. Turning to more deregulation of electricity, particularly introducing real-time pricing. You can't have serious deregulation of electricity if you and I face a constant price of electricity over time. We're going to have to face differential prices depending upon, peak load problems and so forth. And then there's a lot to do in the transportation network. That is introducing pricing to solve congestion problems. That's not technically deregulation of private markets. That's using the government ownership of the highways and pricing those things, access to the highways, and air traffic control and landing rights for airports properly.
How important is this to the next president? And I like to say, how should a president prioritize something like this? What should the next president do?
Well, the most important of all those things I just mentioned would probably be air traffic and ground transportation congestion problems, which politically are likely to be much more important than doing a little bit about electricity or completing the job in telecommunications, because the real loss to Americans sitting in line in traffic in congested metropolitan areas or going through the frustrations of air traffic delays, canceled flights, and so forth, can pile up, can be substantial, and can pose a substantial political problem for any incumbent president.
But it doesn't seem to have been rising to the level of any of the presidential debates that this is a huge problem. So how do you make people more aware of it?
Certainly. I mean, there are a lot of issues that have not. I mean, one could take health care, Social Security, and the war in Iraq, and after that, most other things are of much lesser importance. And I wouldn't claim that this is going to be a politically salient issue until we deal with some of those others.
Talk a little bit about the challenges of what you face with these ideas.
Well, the challenges are that it's very politically controversial to introduce pricing on highways. We're finally beginning to do it in certain areas, certain private roads, but also on public roads, allowing some extension of the high occupancy notion on expressways and so forth, and perhaps charging for those access rights. It's very difficult to do that because people are used to the notion that they should be able to get on any road at any time, no matter how congested, for a zero price. So it's very difficult to get that change. As far as air traffic control, the real problem is the Federal Aviation Administration, which has neither the wherewithal nor apparently the technology to introduce the reforms that are needed.
So how do you overcome that?
There are various ways. I suppose you either have to put a lot of money into it, or perhaps think about privatizing it, as many countries have done, in order to attract the capital and the technological innovation. We should no longer be controlling our air traffic from terrestrial towers. We should be doing it from satellites, which is the way in which the world is going. But we're 10 years away from that, apparently.
Okay, thanks very much.
Nice to talk to you.